Hi, I'm Matthew. I've been HIV positive since October 19th, 1997. I was diagnosed while I was in the Missouri Department of Corrections. When I was diagnosed, we were still being segregated, the HIV and AIDS patients. We were currently under a lawsuit trying to end this. For me, when I was diagnosed, they called me over to the medical building. Unbeknownst to me, while I was going to medical, thinking this is just another appointment, they're calling back at the housing unit, and all my property is being moved from the housing unit I was in to the HIV AIDS housing unit 1. Okay? So, unbeknownst to me, the rest of the population knew what was going on to me before I was even told I was positive. Now, when I was told, probably about 10 minutes after they started moving my property, it was something that made your heart sink, okay? Because it was still early on in this as far as I am concerned, because 97 we still didn't know enough about this disease. It was like someone hitting you with a rock in your chest, big enough to move you back 4 or 5 steps, no matter how hard you were braced for it. That's the kind of impact it had. And the way people just walked away from you, and some of them ran. And that's not an exaggeration. They'd see you coming out for chow hall, and it's like the parting of the Red Sea. All these great big bad, killers afraid of me just because what's in my blood. And I didn't understand it then. I didn't have an understanding of why they had this fear. And that's why I'm being part of the HIV Stops With Me campaign, because I want the stigma to end. I don't want people to be afraid of this. I am just like everybody else. I heal probably better than most people at this point in my life. When I was diagnosed, I had 187,000 viral load, but my CD4 count was still over 1,200. So I had no physical ailments to tell me I was sick. And thank God I haven't really had that many to deal with. I've been through 3 regiments in my time, and I've been undetectable for a solid 13 years straight now with no issues, staying undetectable. I have come from prison to Rochester, New York, where I met my wife in church. And before we knew it, we were both telling each other that we were positive, and neither one of us knew that the other was. So it's not really a stigma to me. And I'm trying to make it where people are not afraid of this. Just because what's in my blood, it's in my blood. I can't give it to you because I'm not out here using drugs with you. I'm not having blood transfusion. I know when I have sex, I'm safe because, number 1, it's a choice. Number 2, I use a condom. I try not to ever take a chance at putting my wife at risk of maybe ours come together and make something different. And on this, there really isn't enough research for me to understand. HIV is something to embrace, actually. Because if you don't embrace it and take your medications to stay undetectable, then you're not ever going to have a chance at having your real life again. My life started when I started sticking to my regimens, taking them daily as I'm supposed to, and I watched my viral load decrease to nothing. My life changed when I realized it will stay here and I can live a life just like anybody else. My life changed for me because I don't have the fear of this, and I don't want anyone else to have the fear of this that is still there. My life changed because I want to change everyone else's life in the way they look at me and anyone else with HIV, AIDS, or any other disease that we cannot cure. Stigmas need to all go away. We need to learn how to live and love each other just as we are brothers under God.